And when I throw this switch, I have never pushed this button before, so I fully expect absolutely everything to go wrong here. I'm going live on YouTube for the very first time. Everything has gone wrong up to this point already, but it's okay. It's okay. Everything's all right. This is fine. How is everybody doing? This is my very first YouTube live stream. I see Nick on Planet Ripple has already entered the chat. Thank you very much. Good to see you, especially. Long time viewer. For folks watching this after the fact, this is the Patreon Copper and Up tier live chat session. And again, my very first one. So please be patient with me. I know you will be. I appreciate it. I've got this laptop over here, which I have only just recently started using. Let's see, I got some viewers in here looking for the chat. I'll pop that out. There we go. Sweet. All right. Looking for, let's see, I see Nick there. Who else? Andrew. Michael has joined. There we go. All right, there was a little bit of a delay there. From what I've seen, there's about a 10 to 20 second delay between what I do and what you actually see. And when you see it is also when I'm able to respond back. So it'll be a little bit funky, but I think we'll be okay. Hello, Jeff. Welcome. Hey, I can be seen. I can be heard. That's all I ever wanted as a YouTuber. Hello. Andrew, Michael, Catherine, Michael. Oh yeah, that's Michael again. And Jeff. All right. Richard. Hello. Unbelievable. It's actually working. Subob Chickvid. Is it Chickvid or is it Chicvid? I need to know. Luisa, hello. I'm seeing all these recognizable names. That's fantastic. I was a little bit worried that that the names that you guys have on. See, that doesn't help. Is it Chicopee or is it Shikopee? Nolan, welcome. I was really worried that there would be a lot of names that you guys use on YouTube that I wouldn't recognize on Patreon, and I'd be like, wait, who are you? Who have I been talking to? Because we've got all these different platforms that we need to negotiate to talk on. So I'm fashionably late. I'm like 5 minutes late, and I figure I should give folks at least that much time to join in. I'm glad that at least the stream is working right to begin with. Vince, hello. White Squirrel Books. Okay, I will probably not remember that. You'll have to remind me again in the future. I'm terrible with names as it is. But welcome. I also do not have a specific, like a plan of exactly how I want to approach this or anything, especially for the very first one. I wanted to be sure to just kind of leave it open. Figured Chick, there we go. Subob Chick, yeah. I want to just kind of let you guys drive it a little bit, or just be casual about it anyway. I mean, it's a Saturday afternoon here. Where I'm at in California, it's overcast. It's been raining a little bit, and we are on lockdown here, of course, as so many places are. So, just take it easy. Nick, welcome. I see you live. Good to see you there. Nolan, the 3 minifigs. This is Lace right here. This was the very first one to be received. And this is GK Echo. If I'm, wait. I might have gotten that wrong. Let me make sure I've got, GK Econ, I believe it is. Like I said, I'm terrible with names just in real life, and it kind of varies from day to day whether my brain will will register well in the name section, whether it's turned on or not. Let's see. Let me bring up Patreon over here just so I can have the list of folks. Yeah, GK Econ is this one, and the last is, sorry, I've been talking to, as many of you know, I've been talking to many folks directly just recently to get caught up on everything. Yes, this one is Tim. This is Tim S. right here with the Stormtrooper body. All right, I've got chat up in the next one. There we go. Windy and chilly in London after 3 nights of bright sun and warmth. Hey, at least you got something, right? Enjoy it while you can. We have been over here. We've been mostly chilly, so probably mostly a little bit more like just in time for lockdown. Probably a little bit more like you guys lately here in quote unquote sunny California. It's not always sunny. The mail plane, yes. The mail plane, absolutely. When I first saw it, I thought it was the wrong photo. I think I probably saw it first on Brickset, Nick. So most likely that image was the one that threw us off the most, that first main image. White Squirrel. 90 degrees in North Carolina today. 90 degrees. I can't even imagine what that feels like right now, to be honest with you. 90 degrees. That's crazy. Yeah, no, I mean, I figured I'd have, at least some kind of company here. What I really would like to have done is have BMO come up here, or come down here, actually. This is the lower floor of the house that I'm in. But yeah, that was not going to happen. BMO is the hair monster, so I'm constantly fighting the fur from him, and I want to keep all that separate from all the Lego stuff, because 4K, people see everything. Can't let it go. All right. Yeah, like I said, I do not have a list of things in particular that I want to cover today or anything. Thoughts on the Barracuda Bay ideas set? Yes, I definitely need to talk about that. Catherine, I think you'll be okay. With mail being considered an essential service, from what I've seen, mail has continued to work okay. I've actually gotten a couple packages from outside the U.S., and there's only been just a little bit of delay. We'll see if that changes as things have gotten a little bit more serious over the past couple of weeks, but I think that's working still. The worldwide mail system is mostly working still properly and on time. So I'm going to go ahead and take Andrew's question, thoughts on the Barracuda Bay, Pirates of Barracuda Bay ideas set, and jump from there. I'm not going to mess with the stream. I do have the ability to change what you see and to start showing stuff from my screen and show pictures and everything. I'm not going to mess with that just now because I want to get through one without introducing too many variables into it. But if any of you, you guys, of course, can pull up the pictures on another screen or everything. I'm very, very pleasantly surprised at the direction that they went with that set of actually creating the ship from it as an alternate build. So when I get that thing, which will be, I'll be trying to purchase it on April 1st, April Fool's Day. Hope that's going to work out okay. But Lego stores are closed. The physical stores are closed, so I'll have to order it online, and then it'll take some time to get to me. So I won't be even receiving that thing until about a week after its release, so somewhere around April 7th, April 8th. But I will be buying 2 of them because I want to buy the sprawling market style setup of it, of the the hovel, or what, the hangout, I guess, and then also building at the same time, or right after it, building the ship form of it, because I think I will probably keep the ship form of it together. I really like what they did with it. I feel like there was a lot of passion that went into that design from the Lego design team. I'm sure it was not just that one main Lego designer who made it happen. I'm sure that there was a lot of input from the entire team that we as outsiders typically don't see. We'll see a designer video and it'll have one person, maybe 2 people if they've got the physical designer and then the graphic designer, but they always work in teams, and just the amount of effort that went into making that something special, I really appreciate, and I'm glad that it's going to offer up something for all of the folks who are older, who are just jonesing for something classic, something classic and nice from Lego, and lots of it. So I think it's just 100% a good thing that they've put together, and definitely looking forward to it. Even though I personally am not a fan of pirate stuff, just in general, like not even considering Lego. Just I'm not a Pirates fan, but I think that is just such a good set that I'm going to keep at least one version of it. See you later. First of all, welcome. Would I be willing to do a tutorial on buying from Bricklink? I've been asked about that. I've thought about it. I'm not sure. For one thing, the last time that I thought about doing that, I actually seriously thought about it and was preparing for it. Shortly after I started preparing for it, they changed. They changed the site and how you navigate and things. So that's a little bit questionable. And Catherine says they're about to change again, most likely, right? With the Lego takeover of them, it would not make sense for them to not change a bit. So it's definitely something that a lot of people have asked for. I'm not sure if that is one that I will be actually doing. Nolan's still waiting for his Bricklink order to arrive so he can put your minifig together. A series of tips and tricks for building and techniques and etc. That's something that I could do. Honestly, I don't know if I'm good enough at that. Like, there's so many people who spend most of their Lego time doing actual Lego building and building up those skills. I spend most of my time editing videos, and in the studio right here. So I probably don't know the vast majority of the really, really cool techniques, or if I do, I don't know them well enough to distill them out of the normal process of building stuff. It's definitely something that I would consider in the future, especially if as I get back into the custom building season. If I kind of get into that feel of working on the custom stuff, and I start to really think about the techniques more, if it makes sense to me, and if I have a grasp on it and it feels right to me, that's definitely something I would like to share. A lot of people have always asked for various tutorials of different types, and that is something that I would consider, to be sure. I just don't have confidence in it just yet. Nick, you think you're carrying the virus? It's quite possible. I may have already had it. I thought that I had some symptoms like a week ago. It may have been just being a hypochondriac about it. But yeah, it's quite possible. Most of us are going to get it. Most of the people in the world most likely are going to get it. It's just a matter of time. So do watch yourself, be careful, take care of yourself. But for most of us, it'll be something that we'll get, and then, it'll pass. It sucks, but yeah, it's definitely, it's going to go around no matter what. Thoughts about making and applying stickers awesomely? I don't know about awesomely, but applying stickers at least decently tutorial. Yes, that must happen, 100%. People have asked me for that. I have promised that I will do it. I will do it. I just need to do it. I do feel confident at least about that. I just need to, what I want to do is like reserve a set that has a lot of different types of stickers and different sticker application scenarios in it, with like really small ones, corner ones, ones on curves, and ones on transparent surfaces. And then just during the process of building it, like, build one for the channel and, do the pure build and everything, and just do that normally. But then build another one, hopefully it won't be a huge set. And during that process, just naturally, with the recording that I do, most likely in the building studio, do the tutorial there. I think that's what I need to do. I just need to find the right set and also the right time for that. But that's definitely, absolutely going to happen. Nick, on the Bricklink orders, I don't know. I don't know. It could be, but it could be so many things, with as long as this thing lasts in the air and on surfaces and stuff. Scoring system, Nolan. I am keeping track of all of the chat messages here, and I'm glad that I didn't open this up to absolutely everybody, because I want to be able to have a small-ish group like this to be able to get through everybody's. Was I just looking at scoring system is something that I've been asked for, like doing either a letter-based score for sets or a number-based score, and that is something that I can do. I've consciously tried not to go in that direction, just because it's so absolute, and especially because I have so many young viewers who are easily swayed by such absolute things as numbers and letters. I don't want to get into a situation where I say, okay, this set is a B plus, this set is a B minus, therefore anybody who looks at those two reviews is going to be like, oh, this is the one to get, this is the better one, because obviously that's going to vary by person. And also it's very difficult, although I think I could deal with it, but it's difficult not to have a bias in things like that towards larger, more complex sets, more realistic sets, things that are a little bit more towards the mature side of building complexity. But yeah, it's just such an absolute thing. I don't want to get into a situation where, younger folks, younger YouTubers will come along and be like, here's a list of the top 10 sets according to JangBricks. It's I don't know. I prefer to keep things just a little bit softer, a little bit more fluid on that. Catherine, you use my techniques for stickers and would love a full tutorial. Absolutely. Like I said, I'm gonna do it. I'm absolutely going to do it. It's just a matter of when. And I'm sorry that it's taken me so long already. What's my Lego story? Oh man, y'all ain't got time for that. What's my Lego story and favorite set from childhood? Oh, people are asking for this one. Okay, let me see if I can do the Cliff Notes version of it. Kid, early 1980s. Liked toy stuff, mostly from my visits to Toys R Us stores back when they had, back in the days when price tags were manually applied to things and the price tags were orange. That's how I ended up liking Lego, was mostly from looking at them, looking at stuff in the stores. We didn't have a lot of material stuff during my childhood. I believe I remember three actual Lego sets that I had, but more than the sets themselves, I enjoyed looking at, I definitely enjoyed the sets, but I got most of my Lego enjoyment and most of what has stayed with me as a Lego fan from looking at those little catalogs, the little miniature catalogs that would come with the sets that, you pull them out and they have the little gallery of some sets that they would like you to know about, that they would like you to buy. And then they would have the scene, at least one scene that they would put together. You know what I'm talking about, the classic dioramas that they would set up. And my little child self would put myself into those scenes, and I would just focus on them and imagine that I was in there, imagine that I was driving the cars around, moving the people around, and just daydream, just thinking about those. I also had a Lego Ideas book. I think yes, I actually have shown that. I don't remember the specific number offhand, but it was a full-size Lego Ideas book, which was absolutely full of those those types of scenes, in addition to some how-tos, which I never followed at all. But that's what got me hooked on Lego. I got out of Lego even before the end of my childhood, like before my teens. I think, or by my teens, I was out of Lego. And then I was right around 1999 or 2000 when I had full-time employment and I had a car and I had a girlfriend and I had friends, like life was good, and I had disposable income, and it was time to pick up a hobby or two. And I picked up two hobbies again, things that I had enjoyed from my childhood. One of them was radio-controlled cars, and the other was Lego. Did a bunch of Lego stuff. Actually started putting together a Lego city at my work, which was Ask Jeeves. It was a search engine, a natural language search engine from back when natural language was bleeding edge stuff. The ability to type in more than keywords into a search engine back when we had Alta Vista and Excite and Metacrawler and things. These were the top search engines of the time, and Google didn't even exist yet. But I did a lot of Lego stuff at work at that time. Actually started to get into Mindstorms a little bit. Quickly realized that I could not have two fully invested hobbies at the same time, in addition to regular life. And I had to choose between Lego and radio control cars. I went with radio control cars and ran with that, and became an RC YouTuber eventually after doing forums. And that was a whole thing, until that got to the point where in my area, it was very difficult to run radio control cars. These were like professional level ones that go 60 miles an hour and more, and like really crazy high end stuff. But I wasn't able to eventually run the radio control cars very much in this area anymore, just because parks were like being more restrictive about stuff. The nearest actual professional facility to me moved too far away. And that's when I decided, you know what, I'm going to try the Lego thing, because with Lego I can control the circumstances a little bit better, and that's that. Obviously, that was around 2013, and that's when I really started going hard on this channel. I'd had this channel going for about 3 years with mostly the Hero Factory and Bionicle stuff, but I decided to try some of the brick-based stuff, which I had tried to stay away from because I knew that I would get sucked in and go 100% into that. And that's exactly what happened. And fortunately, it was a good thing. My favorite set from my childhood was probably the one that I remember the most, and I always forget its name. It was, I believe, the Public Works Yard, I want to say, from like around 1984 or thereabouts. It had two base plates, a garage crane that was kind of on a slider with a clam bucket at the end of it. Had I think it was a front loader, and then a dump truck with no canopy over the top. And you would just move little white bricks around and pretend that you were doing earth moving. So there you go. There's that story. White Squirrel Books used Ask Jeeves as well. Well, excellent. Then you have used my work before. You're familiar with my work, because I did the front page for Ask Jeeves, the design for it, and I did the search results page, one of the redesigns for it, and also switched over from design to engineering. So I did some of the front end coding for that as well. Jay's Cyberdragon looks almost straight out of Insectoids. Yes. Weapons Shop resembles Blacktron 2. Definitely. Yes. A lot of Lego's classic space love, 100%. And I love it as well. And I'm looking forward to integrating some of that Season 12 Ninjago stuff into the Melonby districts, because it's perfect. It's like cyberpunk style stuff. So a lot of that I'll be able to integrate without much modification. At least for now, I'll try to integrate without modification. But some of it I will want to modify and integrate in better. Because that, since I did, what was it, last year, I did a little bit of a revamp there to kind of clean it up so it looks nice. Like it feels like something that I can work on over time now. For a little while there, it was kind of messy, and that kind of put a weight on me. Like it was something that I didn't want to work on because it was a source of stress. It was something where I needed to figure out what to do before I even started doing anything. But now that it looks nice, and I've also got some sets ready for it. I also have some extra sets that I have reserved over the past season or two to build up to start fortifying that space a bit. How many square feet does the city layout cover? At last count, it was just over 300 square feet, and counting both levels. I think that it's more now. I think that it has expanded a bit since then. I think I've added like a table, the size of a table, and that's also not including the extra space that I have most recently reserved to expand the Minecraft layout. Have you ever thought about going back to a quote-unquote normal 8 to 5 office job again? You mean as opposed to, so you're talking about something that's like 5 days a week where you go in, you work, and then you come home and then you do whatever you want? I have thought about it. I've definitely thought about it. But right now, the 12 to 14 hours a day, 7 days a week thing is working for me. It's funny when people think about, talk about, why don't you get a normal job? Oh, boo-hoo, YouTuber is affected by some new YouTube change. Boo-hoo. Why don't you get a regular job, an actual job? I'm working a lot more than I ever have in my life in regular jobs. Definitely, it's something that's always on the table, but I consider it to be a fallback. I want to do this. It's what I've always wanted to do since I knew, or since I had the ability to think about what I would want to do in life is have fun with things that I enjoy and share that with a lot of people, whether, not specifically Lego, but just in general. I want to enjoy stuff, which, for selfish reasons just makes me feel better and makes people close to me feel better. And then I want to make that contagious. I want to spread that in whatever way that I can. So for now, I'm doing my best to stick with this. Jeff asks, do I ever feel like the job of running a Lego YouTube channel takes away from my enjoyment of Lego collecting, building, and etc.? Absolutely. I'd love to be able to say no, but no, the truth is definitely it does. Having to do so much work with this. When I went into Lego full time, or when I made that shift from RC to Lego, I made a promise to my best friend that I would not ever let this new venture of Lego take me to a point where I hated it because of the work aspect of it. I made him a promise, and I've held to that promise. There have been some times where I've gotten overwhelmed, I've gotten stressed, and of course, the whole YouTube thing and being at the mercy of YouTube, which you guys are helping to extract me from to some degree. But that can really bring you down. But I've remained committed for these past 7 years it's been now, to making sure that Lego is a hobby first and foremost, even if I'm not able to put most of my effort into the hobby end of it. Most of my time is on the work end of it. Still, when I look at Lego stuff, I don't look at it like I look at these figures right now, and I see Lego minifigs. I don't see work. I've not associated that with a negative connotation in any way. So that's a very important thing that has kept me going in a positive direction with it. But more on just your question, absolutely. If I didn't have to do reviews, I would probably still do some, but I would do far fewer, and I would spend so much more time doing custom stuff. And I would have a much bigger city with more train loops. I'd probably have a couple of monorail loops in the air that are interleaving with each other, and it would be a lot more movement. And I would definitely be enjoying the hobby a lot more, you know. I remember Brick Show guys saying they had to race through every build to the point where building became a chore and all the joy was gone. Yikes. Yikes. Yeah, that sucks. That really sucks. I took a hit on that in particular. I took a hit with the switch over to the building studio and recording my builds, because previously for a few years my wife would help with a lot of the builds, and for a time, I want to say around 2015. Yeah, I think it was around 2015. She was actually doing the majority of the builds, where she would build, and then she would be a little bit ahead of me, and I would come down and do the reviews and do the editing and everything. But now that's not possible. I have to be the one in the building studio, because I need to get those videos done just right, and I have to operate the camera and move the camera around and everything. But I've managed to adjust my schedule and my relative amounts of energy and time that I put into things, that I'm actually enjoying the builds, even though I'm not able to put out quite as much work now, being just one person rather than two. That build process, that space, is a very calming space for me, and it feels good to me. So that's still working out for me. Catherine asks, how do I maintain my physical and mental health and love of Lego through that? A little bit of delay here, but physical health, I do try to work out from time to time whenever I can. I've got various equipment, and I just force myself to just take breaks, or I try to do multiple things at once. So sometimes while watching TV, I'll use some free weights. We also have a elliptical near the TV, so I can actually even play video games for de-stressing while getting some cardio done. Mental health, that's a whole other story. I think I'll come back to that one at another time. But yeah, mental health is an important thing, and it is something that I work on consciously. But let me table that one for this session, and try to give that a little bit more focus at another time. I'm just getting caught up a little bit. What franchise hasn't been done in Lego form that I would like to see happening? And that reminds me that I need to get to questions that have been asked offline as well. Franchise that hasn't been done. So I'm going to take that as a question about IP. I actually thought about this before, and I can't think of anything that I've really been dying to see Lego take on as a franchise. But one thing that just keeps coming up for me anytime I think about that question is Transformers. I'd love to see them. I'd love to see a good Lego Transformers combination, but I honestly don't think that Lego could do that good of a job, given that Creo has done it before, and Creo was able to do transforming minifigures, and Lego would not do that. And I think that's something that you need to do. Sorry, I'm just turning off my central heating system. I heard it starting to warm up, and I don't want that to interrupt the sound. But yeah, Transformers. And then another thing, just completely selfishly in terms of things that I'd like to see Lego do, Tron. But not just that one nice Tron set. Classic Tron. I feel like classic Tron, and it's completely selfish and it's completely nostalgic, but just I feel like classic Tron, like setting up the grid, like they could have the cardboard pieces, like they've got the cardboard base plates that they did a year or two ago, and they've done some stuff like that before, to have grid base plates, or they could do them as plastic, but they're not going to do plastic base plates anymore. But the grid, and then having the light cycles, and maybe making them a little bit smaller, and then the tanks and just all of that. I personally would love to see classic 80s Tron be a series. And let me just get caught up here a little bit. Let's see. How do I thin the herd each release cycle? Oh, Andrew, you're asking, I'm assuming that you're asking, how do I decide basically what not to do, since I cannot do everything these days. At one point for a while there, I was doing almost every box Lego set that they do from all of their themes. I even started to dabble in Duplo a little bit. Since then, they've gone past the point where I can keep up. And so most of it, I think, is based on what viewers will watch, what I decide to review. I definitely prioritize what I think that most people will want to see based on prior history, what I've heard from people in the past, based on what I'm seeing people comment about, on social media and on my own channel. Now that I do the reveal videos where just showing the pictures, I get a lot of input from folks at that time. When new sets are first announced, I get a lot of comments from folks that help to drive and help me to make the decisions on what to get. But there is a little bit of my own preference that will come in where I'll just, like I just did last night, I just did the Trolls World Tour set. And that's not something that anybody has asked me to do. That was just something that I personally was curious about, even though I don't expect that video. I haven't even looked at it yet today. I don't expect that to do particularly well, but it's just something that I wanted to do, and I thought that there would be some things in it that other people would be interested in, even if they didn't think that it would be. So it is a little bit of both, but it's mostly focus on what viewers will want. Will I hire an editor to take more of the workload? Can't afford it. That simple. I would have to be like 3 times as successful. I would have to go back to like 2015, 2016 levels of viewership, and also YouTube being willing to share their profits to be able to even think about that. I need to do it at this point. During the pure builds, do I find it difficult not to narrate, not to comment on the build in progress? No, I don't. I actually, when I'm in the pure build mode, I'm thinking about sound. So, I'm actually listening for like cars coming on the street that I can just barely hear. I know if it's going to be like UPS or mail or something that's coming. I know that I'm going to have to stop because they're going to come up, they're going to bang on the door or something. They're going to ring the doorbell. So, I'm conscious of sounds, and I'm not a person who likes to hear the sound of his own voice. So I don't have to worry about me just starting to talk without prompting, it's not bubbling up in me. So I don't have a problem with that. White Squirrel Books. Yes, Tron. Yep. I saw Tron in the movie theater as well. Came out, and didn't they have the arcade game, the first Tron arcade game available at the time? I feel like I remember coming out of a movie theater in San Francisco and immediately going over to the Tron arcade game, and they had I think it had multiple modes in it, and I wanted to play the tank one, and I was really, really bad at it, and we didn't have many quarters. But yeah, definitely good times and good memories. Did I notice how Welcome to the Hidden Side is designed to line up back to back with Newbury Station? And have I considered reviewing the latter set and possibly showing this feature? I did see that, and I only just caught up, Nick. I want to say by now it's probably about a week ago that I just caught up on the Hidden Side shorts. I didn't even realize that they were doing an animated series, micro series for that. So I just caught up on that and saw how that went, how that's intended to work with how, the main protagonists got pulled over into the Hidden Side through the subway station, I don't think I'll be reviewing any more Hidden Side stuff for this season, to be honest with you. There's so little interest in it And I personally am not even that interested in it. I got what I personally was most interested in from that for this season. So I actually don't think I'm going to do that. I'm afraid. Sorry. It's funny that I don't like my voice. Richard says, it's funny that you don't like your voice. I've spent hours playing your videos in the background just for the soothing tone. Thank you for that. It's not so much that I dislike my voice. I used to dislike my voice. Like when I started this channel, I actually disliked my voice. I didn't like the sound of it, and especially hearing it on playback. I've improved my voice, I feel. It's just when I say I don't like the sound of it, it's not that I hate my voice. It's just that I don't talk just to talk. You know, I'm some people. You probably know some people like what I'm talking about who just always want to talk, just always have to be saying something. You know, even if there's nothing really to talk about, they're the ones who are always going on and on with everybody around them, just going, oh yeah, mm-hmm, uh-huh, oh yeah, mm-hmm. You know, I guess I'm a semi-introvert in that sense. So yeah, just I don't feel the need to be heard. I'll put it that way. Nick has been going nuts over these hidden side sets, having the most fun slapping eyes and teeth on otherwise normal sets. Right on. Taking the Monster Burger truck, converting it to hidden side, that absolutely is a perfect crossover that needed to be done. So thank you for doing that. Let me switch over to Patreon here real quick and take a look at some questions that have been asked in advance. There we go. From folks who were not able to make it to the stream. So Robert has asked, Robert S., I don't want to mispronounce your last name. Okay, he says, I'm just going to read it off. From your videos, I know you've had some interactions with the Lego group, but I wonder how much, maybe more than I know. Do you think they appreciate your influence on the market? I'm an AFOL, and I'd be embarrassed to say how much I spent on Lego since you turned me back into it. How do you perceive your influence on the world's Lego purchases? And do you see yourself as having a significant effect? So yes, I've had very, very limited, very, very targeted interactions with the Lego group, just individuals, mostly very, very brief emails. Do I think they appreciate my influence on the market? I don't know about my influence on the market on the whole, but they definitely appreciate my work. I do know that with absolute certainty. And I know from the people that I have spoken to talking about other people and just the general within Lego employee community that most of the Lego company is aware of me and appreciates the work that I do, and in some way, you know, to some capacity or not. As far as like how much influence ultimately I have on their bottom line, no company will ever appreciate that with an individual unless that individual is a viral social media star that they want to exploit. You know, normal people, companies just don't have the ability to appreciate to that degree on just how much influence normal people can have on other normal people. You know, they look at it from too much of a high level. How do I perceive my influence on the world's Lego purchases? Do I think I have had a significant effect? No. I know I've had an effect on a lot of people, a lot of my viewers, but I know that the Lego consuming world is way bigger than any of us have any idea about. I mean, you look at the numbers from Lego, and those are some really, really big numbers. And keep in mind that most of the folks that buy Lego stuff are parents buying for their kids, not watching YouTube. They're going to stores. You know, maybe some of them are, maybe some of the kids are watching YouTube and then you know, begging their parents for specific things. But most of the Lego consumer world is not us, is not YouTubers, is not YouTube commenters. And that's something that I'm always struggling to try to drill into the thick skulls of fellow AFOLs and TFOLs that, we are not the core market. We are insignificant. We are absolutely tiny. We are a growth opportunity to Lego in that they have not focused on us very much. So that is a space as saturation occurs in the standard kid market. This is a place where they can get more money now. So you're increasingly seeing them focus more on this market. But the main Lego market is enormous, and I believe that I and all other Lego YouTubers together have only a very, very small impact on that in reality. So moving on to the next one, Big Sarge. There we go. Big Sarge Pete has 3 questions. He went for the max. Is there a retired Lego element that I secretly hope gets brought back into production? I absolutely would love to see the fingered system come back into production. All of the fingered pieces, the arms that can be bent around in different ways, the hinges, those low profile hinges, that entire system. I wish that they would bring that back. They have just the ratcheted system, which is fine, but it's limiting. It has certain spots where it wants to go, those certain angles. And it's high profile relatively. The old one would fit within just the thickness of a plate, many of those pieces. So absolutely, that entire system, the ARM system as it's listed under Bricklink, I would want all of that brought back. What do I think is the reason for the recent slip? What do I think is the reason for the recent slip in minifig printing quality, especially light printing on dark plastic? Well, first of all, Lego has had their ups and downs with quality control over time. So I don't think it's just one particular event or one particular change. However, that said, I have seen a slip on a number of things. So I've gotten a handful of malformed pieces. Some parts are a little bit more brittle again today. The colors are not as consistent now. I'm actually seeing more and more, and I keep forgetting to bring this up, when I see slight but noticeable differences in colors between multiple parts. There was a set just recently on it. I've already forgotten which one it was, but it had one green piece. It might have actually been that troll set, but there was a green piece that was just a little bit brighter than the others. Dark red has always been a problem, and then that Fiat 500 has the light yellow, which I found one piece that was completely off, like way, way off, but a lot of the parts are just slightly different from each other. I feel like Lego has consciously reduced their quality control threshold a bit in order to extract a little bit more production out of their line and or a little bit more profit. Just across the board, I feel like that has happened. And that's what you do as a company, as a production company with large amounts of stuff that you create, that you make. You have to set that bar somewhere, and you have control of where that bar is. The higher it gets up, the more the cost goes up, almost to the point where it starts to get exponential. Lego is doing pretty darn good. They're probably well into the 99% passing grade, but especially for us fans that get a lot of stuff, we see the remainder, and they play with that remainder. I do feel like they could do way better on the figures. And yeah, there's definitely been a trend in the past handful of years. Like, this is a slightly older figure here that does have white printing on it. And honestly, it's not that great either. I think they may have gone up in quality for a time, which made us a little bit more spoiled. And with the opacity of white, yeah, this one is also not that great. This is a relatively recent print there. Yeah, I don't know the exact reason for that particular thing, but I do think that they've lowered their quality control bar just ever so slightly, which we notice, very quickly. His last question was, Lego keeps raising prices on CMF blind bags. Can they continue this trend, or have they reached their limit? So, prices of everything will continue to go up, long term. Inflation exists. So I think from that perspective, prices will never cease to increase. However, they've increased the price of the blind bags faster than inflation has taken effect. $5 feels like too much to me. I feel like they've gone too far. With the switch from 3 to 4, which has happened even not that long ago, a lot of people balked at that, understandably. But I felt like, just based on my pulse on consumer product values and such, I felt like that was something that was doable, that was sustainable. But this jump to 5 feels like it's not sustainable. I feel like they will need to hold at this $5 level. Of course, many places have been selling the most recent DC minifigure series at $4 regardless, which is good, but definitely they're pushing in that higher direction. The next step is going to be they're going to be moving it up to a $6 MSRP, and maybe retailers will be selling stuff for $5 at that point. And I think that $5 is too much at this time. We need to wait quite a while. We need to wait years, I think, for inflation to catch up to that. And something like this. I mean, this in particular represents a particular person, so that's absolutely worth a lot more than $5 to me. But a generic figure is not worth $5. It's not $5 worth of plastic. It's not $5 worth of fun. I think they need to stop. They need to pull back on that. Daniel here has asked, what third-party IP have I always wanted to see Lego get? Have I always wanted to see get a Lego set or theme? I covered that earlier. Transformers and classic Tron. Not that either of those are viable. And then if I could choose a brand new color, that's interesting. A brand new color to add to the Lego palette, what would it be? What part of the Lego, or what part of the color palette in general is lacking from Lego? I've never thought about that. Or at least if I have thought about it, I haven't thought about it recently, as they've added, a number of colors into or back into the palette in recent years. I would like to see more transparency, of course, but I'm thinking like tints. I do wish that there was an in-between tint, between just clear and the dark, the trans brown or trans black, as we call it. But in terms of like opaques, normal colors, what are they missing? What are they missing? They already have so many. I mean, they've got so many things in the cool range, so many blues, light blues. They've got green covered pretty well. Red, what more do you need in red? Yeah, we got coral. I was just thinking we could use something in the neon range, neon not transparent, but we've got coral now, and there's nothing brighter than that. I don't know. They've got all the pinks and lavenders and magentas and purples. Brown. Is there anything else they could do in brown? They could do an in-between in brown, but I don't know. I guess I would just have to go for something in just a plain tint. And I'm not even certain about that, whether I'd want to go with a darker tint or a lighter tint than what they have right now for the trans black. Good question. I don't have a great answer to it. I'll have to think about that some more. I might actually revisit that question. And then the last question from Daniel is also the last question on that list. And I'll get back to the chat. What do I think about Lego Super Mario? What do I think about Lego Super Mario? I think it's interesting. I'm not sure if they got that right. I know they do so much playtesting and everything, but I feel like I need, as someone who in the user experience and user testing field has run tests with people, has run focus groups, has observed focus groups that are run by other people. I really want to look at Lego's focus groups and their play tests with kids. I want to see how they actually set up these tests, because they're like, yeah, kids want to do Super Mario with Lego, and they want to do it physically. But when I think about like Super Mario Maker, Why would a kid ever choose, and why would a parent ever choose the investment in a single Lego set over Super Mario Maker? You know, I mean, yeah, there's something physical there, which parents, especially nowadays, a lot of parents will really appreciate. You know, get off your phone. You know, do something. You know, go outside and play with something that's real. But I mean, you've got this big brick, and you move it around, and then you're done. You know, I just don't see I don't see a lasting amount of fun with that. And it's really interesting that they chose to come up with these new pieces to make it easier for kids to reconfigure the levels and to build the levels. They came up with new pieces that were easier to, you know, kind of like they do with the Minecraft sets, where there's just one part that you remove, and then you just, you know, take whole sections. You build according to the instructions, and then you move whole sections. They were like, Lego specifically said that in their tests that when they just gave kids a bunch of parts to make whatever they want, kids would not do that. They would just be like, what do I do with these? You know, the creativity just wasn't strong enough. And I don't think that's a reflection of, you know, oh, nowadays kids just don't have creativity. No, I don't think it's that, because, you know, a lot of us underestimate just how much or how many kids want to build Lego according to the instructions, and then just play with it. You know, and that's a perfectly fine way to enjoy Lego. It's not for everyone a completely creative thing that's all about making your own thing from raw parts. So I just have so many questions about the viability of the Super Mario theme. I think that the sets are probably going to be a little bit expensive for the amount of play value that you get for them. And what I'm most interested in is what further they can do with the technology that they put into the Mario piece, you know, the electronic piece there. It has just a color scanner on the underside, but then it's got that screen on the front. I'm really interested to see what they can come up with, what they can do with that in the future. The screen and the interactivity there, I think there's infinite potential with that, you know, to have digital screen where you see different graphics, or something becomes something different that is physical. I think that's an excellent crossover between digital and real. But the Super Mario theme itself, I just don't know. I'm going to try it, of course, at least one main set, but I don't know. Not sure about it. All right, I'm going to get caught back up on the chat. Thank you guys for pausing a bit and giving me a reasonable amount to go through. Do I have any white whale sets that I've picked up and now wish that I had? That I never picked up and now wish that I had? The answer is absolutely yes, but they're not coming to mind right now. Let me try to chew on that one a little bit, see if it comes back to me. I definitely have had some regret about selling or donating some sets. Well, so all of my classic space collection, I donated, and I'm glad that I did that. That really, really good things came out of that. But I do wish that I had some of those classic space sets again, for sure. So I will probably end up getting some of them again. But as for like more recent stuff, like some of the trains, you know, I do wish sometimes that I still had the Horizon Express put together. I can still put it back together. I still have all the parts for that. Just have, you know, an official TGV or a couple of them. That's mostly just nostalgia, going back to my childhood and remembering an HO scale public club train layout that had a great long TGV that they would run during certain times. So I'd like to have that. And also the Maersk train is one that I wouldn't mind having fully together again, but then, you know, it's all trade-offs. You know, being able to have custom or customized stuff is also good. But out of all things, the classic stuff, you know, the nostalgic stuff, I would love to be able to allow myself to hang on to more nostalgic things. But ultimately, I have to be good. I have to avoid the hoarding. You know, I'll just say, you know, I've got limited space and I've got a lot of sets that I go through. Any commission builds coming up? I had one very, very cool commission that was being worked on and it got stopped by COVID. So we'll wait for life to come back to normal, or somewhat normal, hopefully. Maybe semi-transparent, Catherine asks. Yeah, frosted stuff. Frosted stuff. There's a lot of range with frosted stuff. Like even just a frosted clear would be great for windows. Can you imagine that? Oh, especially for city building. Yeah, that's a great one. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, and of course, that's something you can do custom as well. You can either, scuff up parts with emery paper, or you can use, frosted acetate and do your own stuff. But the great thing about frosted clear for clear panes is that you can do like a skyscraper or a building, put frosted panes on there, and then you're not able to see inside. So it's okay that there isn't stuff in there. It makes it much easier to build up things that will look great from the outside without having to invest twice the value of exterior bricks into interior detail, since you can see in. So yeah, that's a really good one. You should suggest that. Have them do that with your connections. You got connections with Lego, don't you? Come on. One last thing from Nick. Seriously, Nick, last thing. You're considering getting the raceboat transport. Is it possible to remove the gray part of the hull from the lime part? I'm 99% certain that it is still possible to do that. You have to pull quite a bit. There may be a little bit of almost a tack like plastic tack welded spot within there, so it may feel like breaking it. I'm not sure. I haven't tried pulling apart the recent ones, but most of them definitely you can take apart, including up to fairly recent. I haven't tried the very newest ones, but I'm pretty sure that you can do that, so that you can like swap the different interior and top pieces, deck and hold pieces with different hulls. Last thing, considering turning it into another hidden side monster. Hey, not a bad idea. Have I ever considered submitting an ideas design? Not so much. I think that my thoughts on Lego ideas, I've hinted at my disdain for the Lego ideas system a number of times. I think that deserves a video unto itself, or a series unto itself. There are a lot of things that I don't like about the ideas system, even when it works at its best. I think that I'll just give you just a little bit, very specific to your question about me submitting an ideas design. I am confident, and I don't like the fact that I have this confidence. I'm confident that I could create something and get it to 10,000 votes, by making something that I know a lot of people will like, and using my social media reach to get it out there, to get it retweeted and such, and with you guys and your support. I have enough reach that I believe that I can just make it happen. I can get something to 10,000 votes at least. Whether it'll get approved or not, is a completely different story, which has its own issues behind it. But the fact that I can get something to 10,000 votes, and I'm confident I can get something to 10,000 votes if it's just decent, that's a problem. Because the Lego Ideas system and the voting system relies so heavily on social media reach and things going viral. You see some really, really weird things get to 10,000 votes, especially in the early days, just because stuff went viral on social media. And I think that's wrong. I think it should be more of a meritocracy than it is. That's all that I'll say on that. But have I considered submitting a design? I have considered it. I will consider it in the future. If there's anything that folks really, really want me to do, I'll do it for you guys, but I wouldn't want to do it for me. I have a lot of problems with the ideas system myself. Thank you. See you later for the props on the ET spaceship build. I enjoyed that. It was so stressful. The time crunch on that thing was crazy, but I really like how that turned out. And I am more than a little bit sad that I wasn't able to keep that. I actually Some folks from that company visited me. Part of their film crew came over who had worked on the commercial itself for something else that didn't pan out, but they mentioned that they were sad also that that thing had kind of been lost. Like, you know, there was a tremendous time crunch on the video production side of that as well. Everything was such a time crunch. So that probably just exists in somebody's home now, which is I'm hoping that it still exists and somebody's able to enjoy it, but I wish that I still had it myself. We have gone a full hour now. That's about what I was expecting to do. I'm starting to get a little bit antsy. I feel like I need to get caught up on other stuff on Patreon. There are a lot of messages that have been coming through for end of month stuff. Also preparing for next month. You guys may have noticed that I've not been publicizing a lot of stuff from Patreon. You know, I did put the link up on Twitter. I put it up on my blog. I put it up on the community tab. I've not here. Okay, I'm a YouTuber and I've not done a YouTube video about the Patreon thing, and I've not published, like, you know, the figures that I've gotten. Now, these two are just very recent. I've had this one for a while, and there's another as well. It's actually already in the city. I've not put up anything on Instagram and all that. I've been purposely holding back until the start of the month because I don't want a lot of people to be joining Patreon right now or to be interested in joining Patreon right now. I don't want to publicize the Patreon thing very much right now for that reason, because I don't want them to sign up, get charged, and then get charged again on the first. You know, the way that it's set up based on what my Patreon partner manager very, very strongly recommended. You get charged as soon as you sign up, and then you just automatically move to a month-to-month, first of the month charging. And I don't want people to get charged that quickly together, because they just won't be getting their value out of it. So after the first, you'll be seeing a lot more stuff about the goodness of Patreon going up, including this chat right here will be going live. I'm going to be very embarrassed to watch some of the playback of this, of my rambling, but that's going to go live just so that everybody can hear, you know, can benefit from questions that I've answered, can look at your chat questions and all that. Just, you know, kind of spread the love around as much as possible. These pictures of the minifigs in the city will be put up on Patreon itself first, and then some of them will eventually be showing up on Instagram. You'll be seeing some of them in videos in the future and stuff like that. I just want to clarify on that. So, you know, I have been holding back a little bit of stuff. You'll be seeing more about Patreon, but I'm definitely not going to try to push Patreon out to the general populace. I'm not going to be like, hey guys, smash that like button, hit the bell as hard as you can, and be sure to support me on Patreon. I don't like that kind of direct marketing. It just doesn't feel kind of right to me. Basically, anybody who wants to support me, please feel free to. And I very much appreciate you guys who have supported me and who pushed me, who asked me to put up Patreon. This has been a lot more fun, a lot more rewarding to me. And I feel like I've been able to make it more rewarding for you guys than I ever thought possible, with reasonable rewards that make sense, that are not stressful for me. You know, it doesn't feel like an additional job that's been added on. I enjoy managing this. I'm glad to be able to do this. I hope that I'll get more comfortable with these chats as well, so we can do these. I want to do them about every couple of months. Let me know if you have any suggestions. I'm not going to cut it off right now just yet. I want to just kind of throw it back at you guys if you have any additional suggestions, comments, anything that I did well, anything that I did poorly, anything I could do better, anything I could do more or less of in the future. I will shut up for a moment. I should have brought some water. That's what I should have done. I'll remember that in the future. I am turning it over to you guys. And of course, again, might be hard with more people. Yeah, exactly. I've seen some suggestions, and I've actually had some thoughts myself also about opening up, the chats to everybody, to all levels. But I do want to keep it relatively small. I mean, this number here was great, I think. All right. Thank you. Appreciate the support. I'm glad it's worked out. And I'm sure that, like I said, I will be, I don't know if you noticed it, but I was a little bit nervous here. Yes, Andrew, thank you. Having pre-canned responses to some degree and bringing in pictures definitely is something that I want to do. As I get more comfortable, this is my very first time live streaming to the public. I've tested this in advance, just myself, and then also a friend helped me out with just seeing what the delay was like and just making sure that my setup was correct. But definitely, as I go into the future, I'd like to grow this. I'd like to get better at this. Eventually, especially if we can get to the second goal level. If you look on the Patreon page, I have a second goal. The first goal was absolutely smashed, which was wonderful, which was where I permanently turned off non-skippable ads and also mid-roll ads on all new videos for the first week that they exist. So I put up a video, and for a week there are no mid-rolls and no non-skippable ads on those. I'm really happy to be able to do that. It's something that I just pledged to do to the Patreon supporter community in general, and everybody gets to benefit from it, not just you guys. And it's because of you guys that you've allowed that to happen with your direct support. And then my next goal is when I get to that point or somewhere around there, I want to invest more into some more equipment to allow me to do this well, because I'd like to do the live streaming thing a little bit more and better, to be able to bring in overlays, to have a little something pop up over here, or just to quickly swap out to something, to have a little, I can probably do it just with my extra function keys over here, but have that set up properly. Also have a secondary camera so that when I get into trying to stream some build stuff, a lot of people have asked me to stream builds as a suggestion, something new to try. I want to have the face cam for that as well. If I want to try doing some stuff with chatting with people in real time, I don't know, but I definitely want to do more of this live streaming stuff and better. Subab Chickvid was nervous for me too. I don't know what to say to that. But I appreciate the empathy if it's something like that. Okay, well, everything has slowed down a bit, so I will bring this to a close. Thank you guys for joining and for making this possible, and for making this work out pretty well. I feel like that went fairly smoothly, and what do you know, I actually want to do it again at some point. So I'm going to sign off. Thank you again. And of course, you will see much more of me around, and I will see you in Patreon, and I'll see you on YouTube and elsewhere as well. Bye. See how long this takes to actually turn off.